All right, you cool cats and kittens, I'm back. And here we're going to talk about an introduction. Now, I have done this right here just now, like I just completed it, so there's probably some errors and mistakes and stuff because this is a first draft. But remember, I said that we're going to present arguments. We are not going to find the idiot on the side I disagree with and represent them as the whole side. So I have here that our position for no is that social distancing and stay-at-home ordinances save lives, right? It's good for the country. So that's the no for should the government begin opening up the economy by eliminating social distancing and stay-at-home ordinances. No, right? But then there's another position, position two. Position two says yes, we should do this. Why should we do this? Because the economy. And so it would be bad for the country if we don't say yes, right? So here's what we're going to do. I have created this introduction here. This is right here, the introduction. All right, so here we go. So on March 23rd, 2020, Indiana governor, I should probably put a comma there maybe. On March 23rd, 2020, Indiana governor Eric Holcomb, right, issued the first stay-at-home order in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This decision was met with mixed reaction from people within the state. Now this right here, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm doing this on purpose. I'm presenting the fact that there is starting to be two distinct sides, right? I'm setting up the problem. I'm setting up the issue, right? So now, as we're going through this introduction, this decision was met with mixed reactions from people within the state. Why? Because there was no clear picture of what COVID-19 was as a disease and if it posed any major threat. This right here is going to be a huge part of the argument for people who are saying that we should open up the economy again, right? Or open up everything again. Because the question is it a major threat? Is it a major threat? So I'm with language that's going to come up throughout, right? All right. So as the weeks went on and another stay-at-home order was put in place, two differing views began to emerge as people began to wonder how to proceed. This right here is what we're talking about. How do we proceed? That's what we're going to focus on, right? Now, since this is a very first draft, I'm making this very explicit. I'm making this a little bit more explicit than what I would like to. But this does for now. The whole point of a first draft is to get the thing out. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the thing out. So I present that there are two differing views, right? And these two differing views present how to proceed. That's what we're going to focus on. So one viewpoint, and I hate that I'm doing this as this explicit in this way. I think there's another way to do this, but right now, again, this is a first draft, and I mean, if you do this, that's awesome. You just need to get this out, right? So one viewpoint believes, what do they believe, or what are they arguing for? This right here, you can do a whole bunch of, I don't know, synonyms and try and figure, so that way it's not like as belief sounds kind of interesting. But again, this is a first draft. They believe what? The continuation of the stay-at-home orders could potentially damage local and national economies. Now this one right here, I have as, so I'm going to turn this into blue for a second, because this is the major threat idea. And So here's what's going to happen is as we're going through and I lay out this is what is this? This is number 1. So could potentially damage this right here is number 1. So this is the very first thing that I'm going to focus on. This is going to be the bulk of my argument as I'm talking about the people who are believing that it could potentially damage. It could potentially damage. Why? It could because local and national economies are not able to function the way that they normally do, right? That's what I'm arguing for, right? Strips freedoms away from citizens. Now this one, since I'm focusing this on purpose, I'm doing it this way because I 100% disagree that this is true. This entire thing right here, I don't agree with. I don't like it. So I'm putting it first because it makes me have to argue for them first. I'm backgrounding my bias by making sure that this is the first view that is presented, and it's presented in such a way that is respectful and is true, right? This one right here is going to be really, really hard for me. I don't like it. I hate it. I think it's kind of a little ridiculous. And I don't mean, like, if you feel that way, that's awesome. I have a really hard time knowing that, like, my granny was in a nursing home and seeing all of these nursing home statistics. If my granny stays alive for the sake of me staying at home and not being able to go to the coffee shop that I want to go to, well, I'd rather the old person stay alive. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I feel right now about this. But it's one of the huge arguments that people argue for with this. So maybe I might move this around to here. I don't know. And I might argue for that one next. But because I have a really hard time with it, I'm placing it second because it's a big point for them, but it's going to be really hard for me to talk about. So this right here is like map point 2, right? So this one's map point 1 right here. This one's map point 2. And then finally, I was trying to have a really hard time with 3s. I like the rule of 3s, but if you wanted to do this one and this one, that it could potentially damage local and national economies and strip away freedoms from citizens, and not do this final one, awesome. But one of the things that I saw in the Chicago magazine that I follow is that people are really pissed off that that they're not going to be able to go to festivals in the way that they want or the way that they had before. So I've chosen this one because I think it's one that could be ridiculous, but also has a lot of great merits. And so because of that, I want to focus in on that a little bit. And also, I'm really sorry that I'm coughing. I have not been feeling great this past week, and so I'm already hearing Cardi B going, coronavirus, but I'm trying, all right? I'm trying to make it through this. I don't think I have that, but I'm not feeling good at the moment. So, and that's just me trying to be funny. Please don't, like, flip out. But anyway, so this right here is the signal phrase, right, for the next view. This is the next viewpoint. Those on the other side of the issue believe. Again, I'm being way too specific in this. I don't like how explicit I am in that, but it works. And if you want to do that, do that. Awesome. Again, too, this is a first draft. So, like, just get the ideas out, right? Now, here's the thing. This is the next, this right here. The other side believes that stay-at-home orders could prevent unnecessary death, right? So this is, let's do, what color sounds cool? That color, okay. It's really hard to see, but oh well. Avoiding overwhelming the healthcare system and protect American, the way that we as Americans live, right? So this is what we could do. I'm going to change this to this guy. Cool, there we go. All right, so this is the other thing. This right here, the way that I'm laying this out, presents a way of doing it where it would be introduction, transition statement, issue 1, right, or viewpoint 1. And then you would go A, B, C, transition, viewpoint 2, A, B, C, transition, conclusion. Conclusion. There we go. All right, so this is what it would look like. This one, this way of doing it is a little bit harder. I think the easiest way to do this is to then take these points and argue against them. So make it point, counterpoint. So like if we're doing like pot legalization, like you know, because yeah, if we're doing that, your map points, you'd want them to be you'd want them to go off of each other. So you'd want, I can't figure out how to do that anymore. You'd want map point 1, and then, so you'd focus in on that, and then you'd do map point 2, and you'd focus in on that. And so what I mean by focus in on is you would do, here we go. I figured it out. I'll just do it this way. 4 against. You would start talking, you would introduce map point 1, and then when you're discussing map point 1 in your essay, you're going to do 4, and then you're going to do against. And then you're going to do same thing, 4 against. And you're just going to do this you're just going to do this the entire time until you hit your conclusion. Or let's do it this way. So that's what it would look like. it would look like introduction and thesis with map points, transition statement, map point 1, transition statement, map point 2. That's what it would look like.